Are the Steelers that? My thinking is if the offensive line comes to play, the Steelers have a legitimate chance to be Super Bowl contenders. I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility. Now, here's a thing that Aaron Rodgers said. He came up with a quote today. I'm going to read this. Well, it wasn't today, it was yesterday, actually. So I think most of the 32 teams would say something to that effect when asked, are the Steelers a Super Bowl contender at this time of year, is what he said. So, he's basically saying that everybody currently that this time of year, everybody thinks they can win the Super Bowl or they're going to at least talk like they can. He said, but I think there's really only 6 to 8 teams that have a legitimate chance. Sometimes it's 10 to 12 when there's teams that might surprise you. But I would say on paper, we're probably one of those 10 to 12 teams. So Aaron Rodgers is telling you that on paper, he believes that the Pittsburgh Steelers have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Now, he was quick to point out on paper, and he's correct because everything's on paper right now, though, because we see so many teams, through the years that, they should be really good. What was that team? The Philadelphia Eagles dream team. Well, they brought these guys and they were supposed to be, they fell flat on their face, you know, and part of that was because they had just bad quarterback play. But that's the difference is that everything right now is on paper. But he's right. Every year, there's not 32 teams that can win a Super Bowl. There could be somebody that may surprise us from time to time. But how many people believe that the Arizona Cardinals or the Carolina Panthers are going to be able to win a Super Bowl this year? There's not many people, or the Tennessee Titans. And there's not many people that, even with their fans included, there's not many people that believe that. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, see, we get all this talk in the offseason, the ESPNs of the world and the Fox Sports networks, the FS1s, the Colin Cowherds of the world, the Nick Wrights of the world that constantly bash on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I've tried to calm you guys down, even though it fires me up too. So I don't want to eliminate myself from the fray as well. I got to calm myself down too because they only talk about the Steelers. Why? Because it's the Steelers and we get numbers, we get clicks. People pay attention when you mention Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you say something negative about them, even more people are going to pay attention to that than if you just actually give the honest, true assessment of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm always going to give the honest, true assessment of the Steelers. Good, bad, indifferent. I'm going to tell you how it is. And I've said it from day one since this season has started, basically after the draft. And I'm saying it today. The offensive line is the key to this season. If the offensive line comes to play, the Steelers have a chance to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that they're going to. I'm saying they have an opportunity. Because if the O-line comes to play, first thing is they'll be able to protect Aaron Rodgers. Next thing is they're going to be able to run the football. And maybe that's flip-flop order. Maybe it's, hey, if they come to play, they'll be able to run the ball. And then on the flip side, they'll also be able to protect Aaron Rodgers because we know Arthur Smith wants to run the football. He wants to run a wide outside zone. And he wants to play action on top of that. And then he'll throw in some counters. Just when you think we're running wide, he'll throw in some counters to come backside. So the offensive line is the key. Now, I'm not saying that nobody else. I'm not saying that the D-line doesn't have to be there. I'm not saying anything like that. But what I am saying is the offensive line, what they do and how they produce is going to be what's confident for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just a fact. Hayward also had some things. He said he's motivated by the same gaining of first. He wants to get his first championship. Is basically that is his motivation. He said there's a lot of things I still want to accomplish in this league, and the first thing that comes to mind is holding one of those Lombardis one day. That's what he said when he was on the Rich Eisen show earlier this month. And I feel like we have the team to do it. You got to love the way that our staff and the organization goes about every year saying we're trying to compete for a championship. It's not like we're trying to rebuild or hold anybody back. We know what this city wants, and as players, we want to answer the call. I mean, look, he's partially right because the city absolutely wants to win. But I only disagree with Cam because the Steelers have rebuilt their offense and defense. They're rebuilding. They're still in the middle of a rebuild, but they've put pieces in place and put things. Okay, well, we rebuilt this offensive line. Now it has to play. We've rebuilt this defensive line. Well, now it has to play. We put in place a quarterback that should give us better and more competent quarterback play. We've rebuilt the back end of our secondary. While it's not necessarily for the future, for this year and possibly the next 2 years, the back end of our secondary looks pretty good. So now, and that's the difference. They've got things in place where the Steelers can go win a Super Bowl. Now, I'm not predicting that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you guys that they're going to win a Super Bowl. But what I'm saying is they have a fighting chance. It is not out of the question that the Steelers win 12-13 this year. Am I going to predict that? You have to wait. We'll obviously come out with that episode down the road. But the Steelers have things in place to where they can go win. But as Aaron Rodgers mentioned, it's all on paper. It's all on paper at this point. So they still have to go out and do it. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go to the poll question, ladies and gentlemen. So, should be interesting. Question number 1. Which area of the Steelers game do you think needs the most improvement as they aim for the Super Bowl? A, offensive line performance. D, defensive adjustments. C, coaching schemes. D, overall team chemistry. Now, there's a couple of answers on here that are probably right, but you can only give one. You know. But I got a feeling a lot of people are going to take C. I think a lot of people are going to take C. I think it's A, and C is right underneath it, man. Right underneath it. But make sure that you put a 1 in front of the letter that you choose so we know exactly what poll question you guys are answering. So appreciate that. Let's move on.